Tariffs benefit no one and harm almost everyone. American consumers are now noticing the effects of tariffs. The American economy is not performing as well as the American government had anticipated a year ago. In my opinion, this also has something to do with tariff policy. We do not want this escalation. We do not want a trade dispute with the United States of America. We will also have the opportunity to discuss this in various meetings in Davos this week. I will try to meet with President Trump again on Wednesday. I had a long telephone conversation with him on Thursday. We simply want to try to solve this problem together. The American government knows that we could also respond from our side. I do not want that. But if necessary, we will of course protect our European interests, including our German national interests. If we are confronted with tariffs that we consider unreasonable, we are in a position to respond. That is exactly what we will be discussing in Brussels on Thursday. The United States of America once had over 30,000 soldiers stationed in Greenland. There are currently fewer than 200. So obviously, even the United States' own threat analysis is not as dramatic as it is currently being presented, which does not mean that it could not become more serious again. The security situation could become more difficult. And since this is European NATO territory, we have an interest in protecting this area as well. Incidentally, the decision on this reconnaissance mission last weekend, which was initiated by the 8 states, was discussed beforehand in the NATO Council in the presence of the American representative on the NATO Council. So it came as no surprise to the American government that this was taking place. It had been announced, it had been agreed upon, and, as I just said, it began and ended according to plan. It was never a military action. It was always a reconnaissance mission on behalf of the governments involved. Denmark and the people of Greenland can count on our solidarity. We are prepared to support the talks with the United States. These talks should always be based on the principles of sovereignty and territorial integrity. I would also like to mention the historic date that took place last Saturday. This was the historic signing of the Mercosur Agreement with 4 South American countries, which coincided almost exactly with the announcement of the U.S. President's decision to impose further higher tariffs. This is an important step for us, also for economic strength in what is now the largest single market in the world, together with the South Americans. I am in fact coordinating very closely with Emmanuel Macron on these issues as well. We had a long telephone conversation yesterday. France is affected by the American tariffs to a different extent than we are. And in this respect, I also understand that the French government and the French president want to react a little more harshly than we do. Nevertheless, we are trying and succeeding to adopt a common position before we go to the European summit. That will also be the case this time. We still have no indication that Putin is willing to come to the negotiating table and end this war. That is indeed my greatest concern for Europe's security at the moment. Not Greenland, but Ukraine. Thank you.